do tell the last story, and this is the 3rd year, so imagine I tell 1 story a month. And I haven't really repeated stories, but I have repeated things about my parents, or some of you might know some of the greatest hits. And this particular story has been told in 3 ways, because it's accented different things, and that's why I want to do it again. And it's short. Okay, so, because it's come that time. My parents divorced each other when I was 6 months old, and then remarried each other 3 years later. When my father moved into the house, he brought a big box of 45 records with him, and one of them was Chubby Checker's The Twist. Come on, you guys know what I'm talking about. Come on, let's sing it. Come on.
Do the twist. Come on. Do the twist.
You know what I'm talking about. And so, this thing, during the time that my parents were separated, this thing got out of control. And those of you that were in the 60s in a big way, because I was a little thing, it was a dance craze. Everybody was doing it. And I fell in love with the dance, and my cousin Gigi, my best friend, fell in love with it. And I mean, I would work it, because we would do this for family gatherings about this size. And they would gather around, and I would start. And I had the James Brown version. I mean, I was like... the floor, till I was like breaking out into a sweat. And my cousin Gigi would just take her foot, like she was putting her little toe in the water to test out the waters, and she would just go. Like she was squishing a bug. So consequently, I made the quarters, she made the, they felt bad for her and would give her a dime. My parents were in their 20s at this point, and they had nothing in common but sex. I do not say that lightly. These two were honeymooning morning, noon, and night. And it was the nighttime that I was privy to, because we lived in a very small house with a 1-bedroom, tiny little place, and I was born in that bed. I was born with a midwife. And again, midwifery wasn't cool yet. If the midwifery would get cool in the 70s and 80s and 90s in the present tense, but in the 50s and the 60s, you were just really poor. And you just had to get born. And so I don't know where they found this woman that brought me in, but that's another story. So I was born in that bed. I was very comfortable in that bed, and I didn't want to leave that bed, and they didn't make me do it so much. So when I was little enough, I'd hear this little ongoing ritual, is she asleep? And then, of course, the other one would lean into me, and because I'm an actress now, I know I began my acting career at that moment, because I could I was good, Ben. I could do the... And I mean, be so still that they were like, all right, she's asleep. And then this amazing thing would happen. It was pitch black. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it. And the sensations that would occur, because sometimes I was no longer in the bed because I got bigger, but the honeymooning didn't stop just because I got bigger. They just put me on the side of the bed in a little bedroll, right? So the sensations in the dark that would occur were so extraordinary, because it was like a nuclear bomb that had detonated between my little legs. It was like, whoa! And it was like, I was convinced as a little girl that there was light, skyrocketing, that it was like a spotlight in the room. It was so bright. It was baby ecstasy of extraordinary proportion. So, what happens next in this story, Oscar? Yes. I figured this out because I suddenly am a teenager, right? I have discovered that whatever it is by then, my parents, I have kind of ideas about it, because now there's porn out in the world and stuff, so I've kind of put it together by that point. But I've also discovered that what they were doing was a dance. It was a dance. It was round and round, up and down. And I have learned my own version by that point. you know, with myself, to myself, I think it's my own dark secret. I have no idea that other people might be doing this. It really didn't matter to me if they did or didn't, but I know that it was my private resource. And so one afternoon I'm over at my grandmother's house, and my older sister lives there with her, and I have forgotten myself because I am in that round and round, bend down on their couch. And my older sister walks in and is like, oh my God, that's disgusting. Oh my God, you're going to have to confess. You know what I'm talking about, Sally. You're going to have to confess that to the priest. Oh yes. No. To that perverted priest, are you joking? The one that's having an affair with La Bebe Canales and her Cadillac is always parked in the front of the house? No! So, around then I get a phone call from my cousin Gigi, and she's very distraught. She's saying she's suicidal, and I don't really understand why. I had noticed that her body would get bigger, and then it would get smaller. But you know, it's adolescence. We were all like blow-up dolls overnight. And then, so I kind of logged it, but I didn't really log it. And so anyway, she's crying, and she says to me, she has a terrible dark secret. And of course, I've just been busted for mine, and I'm thinking, we're both good Catholic girls, right? If I tell you yours, you tell me mine, and then do the 3 Hail Marys, and we're fine. So she comes over to the house, and then we both start staring at our feet for a long time because we realized that maybe that wasn't such a good idea to tell our deep, dark secrets to each other after all. Finally, hers is worse than mine, and she says, but she's starting to cry, and she says, I can eat a whole chicken. And I'm thinking, oh my God, is that her secret? I mean, you know, I'm very concerned for myself because you know what I'm going to have to talk about. It's like, she can eat a whole freaking chicken. She should be grateful for that. I mean, back at my house, we hardly have any food in the house. We were living Reagan's thing about, you know, ketchup is a vegetable. Seriously, on a, you know, on a little taco tortilla thing, and on a good day with the mayonnaise on the taco thing. I was a little angry at that point, like, geez, you should be just grateful, Gigi. Eat a whole damn chicken? God. But she's, and then I feel really bad because she's crying. She says, no, I can eat a whole chicken, then I can put the finger in my throat and throw it all up. Okay, that disorder is not going to be known about for another 10 years till we're in college, you know? So I don't know what to say, but I know it has gravity, so I just, you know, can't say much. I just know it sounds like a serious problem. Then she looks at me like, what's your secret? I knew it was like, oh man. So I even know the word at that point, so I'm like, well, you know, sounds like, you know. And when I actually say I masturbate, she says without batting an eyelash, with a banana? Now she had an eating disorder, but well, what I didn't know, and she told me later, is that she was reading a teenage romance novel, and that woman in the novel would do things with zucchinis and bananas. And that really concerned me. And to this day, I have no idea how that all would work. If anybody wants to talk to me about it, I'm open to that. Now, before I go to the end of this story, I should mention that at one point, as a kid, in the honeymoon stage of my parents, I was playing outside one day, and I hear the jungle sounds that I'm only used to hearing at night. And so, you know, it's a hot Texas, South Texas day. You know how hot it is, Sally. So I go in to get some water. And of course, you know, the door is open. So it's like, all right, today's the day. I get to see what it is that thing is that they do, that dance. I want to see that horizontal dance they do. So I go up there and it's like, oh my God. Oh my God, that does not look like what it sounds like. It was like some wrestling match that my father was winning, apparently. And as I look at my mom, you know, kind of like, and she's making the sounds I'm used to hearing that were creating rockets of delight in the sky for me. Now she looks like she's in terrible pain. It's a horrible situation. I mean, I'm just like, probably had a little bit of that disorder after that moment. They didn't put it in the book, but it's like, so I run out and I, you know, go to the stairs and I stare at my feet. I am really overwhelmed. And not only am I overwhelmed, I'm starting to feel sad. I'm starting to feel betrayed because they left me out. That's how I felt. It's like somehow I thought that whatever they were doing, we were all doing it together. You know? And so it was a little bit of, it was sad, Ben. It was really, I mean, I did feel oddly sad. Not jealous, just kind of left out. I've worked it out. So the last part of the story, I have a little girl. One day I have a little girl, and she's in diapers, and she's learned how to turn herself around, you know, those huge milestones on her belly, and she's doing the cobra. And she can't talk yet, but she gets her little elbow, she puts one elbow down, and the other down. She starts doing round. Up and down. I'm going, no, that can't be right. Up and down. She breaks into a little sweat. And then a little smile, like, oh my God. But that was the turning point for me, because I thought, wow, that is what the body knows how to do and what it naturally wants to do. It wants to dance itself into ecstasy. How extraordinary. Cool. You know, and that was awesome. Well, but then, she's doing it a lot. like she starts to be a toddler and saying a few more words, but you know, if it's a stressful day or whatever, round. And I'm thinking, oh, you know? And then she's got a few more words and, you know, we can converse and she'll be looking at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or Winnie the Pooh and... Okay, so I call, you know, so one day my friend Melba and I start having a conversation. I'm going, I'm a little concerned because what if there's a family gathering or something? You know, it's the horizontal twist, it's not that, you know? She goes, oh my God, that happened in my house all the time. In fact, we finally had to give it a name. We called it Tickle Butt. And we would talk about it because she said, I used to bring my daughter to work and I was afraid she was going to do that at the board meetings or something. So we really had to talk about it. So I thought, oh, right, that's what I'll do. So I waited to the next opportune moment. And sure enough, it came one day. She's 3 years old. She's under the table. And she's drawing. And suddenly it's like... And I'm like, hi, sweetheart. You know what you're doing over there? It's called Tickle Butt. And she's like, huh? You know. And I'm going, you know, we do Tickle Butt in our room. It's better to do it in our room with ourselves and go upstairs and have the privacy and close the door so nobody's looking at you. She stops for a second and she says, Mom, look the other way. Why didn't I think of that, right? Nothing to discuss after that point. End of story, because I was not going to twist her little brain up or create some kind of kink. It was like I wasn't going to do what my older sister did to me. It took years to undo. So we dropped it. All was cool. I finally had to talk with the Montessori teacher and she assured me that happens to all the kids, and the boys like to pull on their little wingers as they read their math book or whatever. And she basically just has to You know, the kids very gently, and just, if it's become like a spectator sport or something, then, you know, they need to go to the restroom and have their own private time. So it was like, okay. So what's cool is that we got through it. She's elegant, we laugh about it till today, and she's probably going to say, you didn't tell that story again, Mom, did you? But she has a variation of her own story, which is really lovely. But the turning point that I want to leave you with tonight, with this, is how extraordinary the body is when it's untampered, when there's conversation. Because I was real proud of the fact that my son, even recently over Mother's Day, said, you know, Mom, you did a good job with the sex thing in our house. You know, as far as talking about it, and, you know. I thought, you know, that's good. That's good. We didn't have to call his tickle butt. That's another story. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank all the storytellers. All the storytellers come up here with me and turn the lights on, and some of you are very kind to take pictures, so I put them on Facebook to invite others, and also just to honor everybody for a final clap up here. Come on up.